Hey everyone, and welcome after the break in the studio. And again, we have another micro panel with two amazing speakers. They just came off the stage to join me here in the basement studio. So thank you guys for joining me. Can you just briefly introduce yourself again, maybe for people that are rewatching this without watching your talk? Go on.
So Zackary Chapple, CEO and co-founder of Zephyr Cloud, part of the Module Federation core team, huge open source evangelist.
And I'm Adam. I'm a senior engineer at Klarna, and I am member one of the core teams where we take care of the foundations of our React Native app.
Thanks so much for a brief introduction. So I want this micro panel to be about OTA, but not specifically about your talk, more about broader abstractions and broader mechanisms that we as a community use for those kind of things. So can you maybe share your story, how you got introduced to the idea of remotely pushing the UI updates to apps users?
So I will start from the end. That mostly we are using our OTA solution not on a daily basis and not for continuous deployment, but mostly for mitigating incidents, resolving some critical issues, or maybe some legal stuff that needs to be solved. Mm-hmm. So we are not that quick in using the OTA updates. That's why we came from completely different need, because we release quite often. I mean, once a week is relatively good pace, I guess.
That's great.
Yeah, I hope so. So that's why but still we needed a solution to be able to quickly react to some fires, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for us, I think we started on the website, right? So we already have that with the browser. You just refresh the page and you get the new version, right? And we had some customers that were asking for how do you bring the stuff you're doing with Module Federation to the web? And then we started to work down that direction. Then we found out oh, this is actually a need. And as we started working on it, Microsoft deprecated code push.
Yes.
And we're
talk about that as well.
Oh, that's a fun thing. Then now there's a huge gap in the market. So let's see if we can do something there.
So did you start working on Zephyr for mobile only after you heard about that deprecation news, mm-hmm. or you had this idea beforehand as well?
No, it was actually our customer's idea, but we got that in August of 24. When did they announce the deprecation? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
That was, I think, April 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
We had a year to adjust.
Yeah. And so we didn't know about it because I wasn't really much in the React Native space until mm-hmm. we got pushed into it.
Okay.
So it was an interesting adjustment.
Okay. I feel like the micro frontends and Module Federation is taking at the same idea from a little bit different side of things, right? So regular OTA is more of this all or nothing kind of abstraction, you ship the whole bundle. Usually, I'm not sure if that's your custom system as well.
Not exactly. We are shipping only the diff, so only the parts of the app that is changed, so we can lower the traffic and the network that's needed to apply the update.
Yeah, you were doing some interesting things with splitting the bundles in repack and then doing the Hermes bytecode diff. That was a really big difference.
So actually, technically, we are not doing bytecode diffing. So this is something you can do because by default, when you have your React Native app and you are just using Metro, you have just one JavaScript chunk.
One entry point, yeah.
And so but still you can make diffs between them, even if it's binary. So I just wanted to highlight that it's possible, but we are just comparing the list of files and...
Oh, funny thing that you mentioned that, because I was just a month ago at a Braunschweig workshop where you can actually have several different JavaScript runtimes running different bundles as well. So I wonder how is that going to work with OTA? Yeah, but that's a completely different subject.
I think I can answer that. So you can think about OTA as a transport layer. Mm-hmm. So it's only about pushing new stuff from your server to the device, to your app. And whatever you will do later on the device, if you will run multiple runtimes or do whatever you want, it's separate story, what you do after you ship it.
Okay. So like, what is your opinion about like the different approaches, like module federation and OTA? Like, what are the different user groups, product groups that should adopt one of the other?
I think on that one, so like for us, I don't know if you were in my talk or not, but like,
Yeah, I was.
The big thing for me is that module federation you can use across the entire stack, right? So you can use, it's been in the web for more than 2 years actually. But it's been around for a while. It's 4 million downloads. It's bigger than some web frameworks, but we've also started to move it into BFF. So backends, we're moving into AI stuff. We've now done it with React Native. So like it's something that you could reuse that pattern. Like we saw a lot of talk about using C++ everywhere. So like this is, kind of a similar vein, try to, do similar patterns to make it easier for folks.
Okay.
Can you remind the question?
So like, I guess like different products, different users need like different solutions. Some of them are like the OTA from Microsoft. That was so easy to set up. And with this sunsetting, I feel like we've got a bunch of libraries trying to do the same thing. And then also you can self-host that OTA server from Microsoft, but that only works on Microsoft Cloud. The last time I checked, or you can try to build your own solution. So like, there is like no, I guess, proper answer here to this question, like whatever suits your needs, I guess.
Yeah. So I would say that module federation is great if you want to move really fast and push the responsibility of deployments to the teams. But it can create a bunch of, it will solve a few problems, but can create another one. Like, for example, syncing between different features. If you have multiple features, federated features, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but this is how I like understand this in my mind. When you have, when you are shipping different versions of different features and they need to interact with them, with each other somehow. So you need to make sure that they are aligned. Right.
Yeah, so that's where the versioning comes in, right?
Yeah, that's where the versioning stuff comes in. You can also version the downstream dependencies too. And like you mentioned too, like we have one of the same challenges we have is we can only update the JavaScript side of things.
Yes.
Right. So we're not changing the runtime binaries and stuff like that. So like,
exactly.
That's one downfall of like most of the approaches, right? I think Expo has the same limitation.
Yes.
But I think that the big thing is making sure that things stay in sync. And that's also partially why like our startup exists too, like to help keep those things in sync.
Yeah.
And without that, module federation is, like you said, very powerful, but it can also be a good foot gun.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I also mentioned this during my talk, and this is the quote from the Expo docs that the safe and fast are like opposing forces. And each of this, you have benefits and costs. You need to fit the solution to your app.
I like how you compared this to either giving ownership for deployment to like individual teams or like having just a deployment team that takes care of the whole OTA update. Yeah. And I guess that's a trade-off, right? Depending on your team size and your team needs.
Yes,
basically.
Exactly. So at Klarna, my team is actually handling. So we have like the main release manager, let's say, and he's like covering in it. And when someone wants to create OTA update because of the incident, they are coming to us.
And then this guy goes on vacation and we don't have any updates.
No, we have a few trained people to do it with full access, so no worry about this. But yeah, that's how we work. I guess if you will ask like managers or feature teams if they want to like use module federation stuff to release, they will be like, hell yeah, let's do it. But if you will ask platform people about this, they may be not that optimistic because in the end, some of the problems may still end up.
Yeah, like the complexity is distributed then as well, right? So like you have to like weigh in the complexity of your code base versus the benefits of having that flexibility that comes with it.
So something interesting about what you just mentioned too is that when you start to use module federation across the whole stack, we actually saw this at the case study that we did together with Callstack, is we were actually coupling BFF, so the backends that were using module federation together with the web that were using module federation and the React Native application that's using module federation. And we were able to keep them in sync. And because we were using Semver, we could actually have ranges of compatibility. So we know, like, okay, the mobile app can't progress to this version because the BFF hasn't progressed there yet, right? So there's some interesting things you can do when you start to decouple those systems like that.
Yeah, but do you need to manually determine if these versions are like compatible, or it's just automated?
So it's like what you do in your package JSON.
Okay.
So like you do Semver in a package JSON.
Oh, okay.
Just like you do with any React Native dependencies.
Okay.
So for like last piece of advice to every React Native product out there, would you recommend not having any kind of remote updating of your bundle?
It depends.
I thought that's the most simple question.
I'll be more braggadocious. I'll let you go first, but I'll be more braggadocious.
Okay, so I will say that, let me expand on this one. So it depends. I mean, you need to ask yourself, why do you need like this remote bundles and all of this stuff? Do you really need to be that fast? Because we are talking about like big apps with millions of users, but majority of apps have like maybe, I don't know, a couple of thousand users, maybe more. So you need to calculate what is the benefit and the cost, because it's more complexity with the operation and release process and code and so on. But maybe if you will just release your app once every 2 weeks to the store, maybe completely fine to you. So like you need to first can you find idea why do you even need this, and for what?
And then Zack goes with, you should use it all the time.
Well, no, so I think like kind of the opposite. Like I think that with the rise of vibe coders and the rise of people using vibe coding tools, they're able to iterate significantly faster, right? So, but if you can have the agents and the tools that you're using work on a smaller context, then it's safer to do that. And then because everything is now versioned and ephemeral with a federated remote, you can test that. And I think that's more valuable to the small startup that's only 1 or 2 people, because now they can actually see what hits in the market and they can really experiment at velocity.
Yeah, that's
so
a good use case.
You've heard it here first, 2 different opinions. You either use it or not, depending on your needs. Thank you guys so much. Wonderful talks. Thank you for coming into the studio, chatting with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.